And we are
Let's
live.
go.
Right, let's jump straight into it. So, season. We've got Lucy. Looking forward to this. I'm actually buzzing for this one, Lucy. This, like I was saying before, this is probably, if not, one of my favourite things to talk about. So,
You already
yeah,
know that this is going to be Luke's favourite subject. I can tell.
this is going to be unbelievable. Right, we got RS in. Robin. Keep thinking it's Ruth, Robin. I don't know why. But we got Limelight Vinty. Just made it in time. Yes, you did. And we got the gentleman marketeer Simon in. But right, we're going to kick things off. So this, like I said, this is probably one of my favourite things to speak about. Out of all of the processes involved in the reselling business, I think this is probably the one of the things that's helped me out the most. And when I started niching down into clothing, this is probably one of the first things I implemented. And I'm so glad that I did because it saved me so much time, probably a load of money. And yeah, it's just been the best thing I did. So since niching down, implemented it straight away. But the ability to pick items fast and, to be honest, never really lose anything is so, well, I don't know if it's underrated, but it's insanely important. But when you first started out, James, and you started out just like I did with everything really, how did you organise your stock from the very beginning?
So I've got split garage now because I still have a handful, and when I say handful, it's probably 60 everything items left. And I use the crate system in that shed. So I started with, I think where a lot of people start is the box system. I'm talking the plastic crate system, where everything gets chucked into a crate, and I used to label it A, B, C, D, right the way through to whatever it said. And when an item sells, it might be in A1 or A2, and I would have to then get the box out, so slide the box out, and I would have to literally dig through the box to try and find the item, chuck things to one side. Then I advanced a little bit by starting to put items in these bags, this style bag, to make it easier. So even for the everything items, used to have like a camera in this bag, so I can just pull the bag out and there it is ready to go, which did make life a little bit easier. But even still, the amount of time wasted rummaging through the box and then realizing actually once you put the box back, you've got another item which you know you've already seen it's right at the bottom of the box, and you've got to get all the stuff out and then put it all back. So yeah, that's how I started. I think a lot of people start in the same way with the plastic tubs.
Yeah, I think some of the guys just mentioned your mic's going a little bit, it's kind of a little bit buzzy. But
All right, let's change it
yeah, I
and then
think,
I'll just try something.
yeah, no, that's all good, mate. Yeah, that's pretty much the same as me. I think it's what people go or they gravitate to near the beginning, and probably a lot of guys even now. And I think it's called the bin method, so bin or box method. But yeah, pretty much exactly the same where you label it A to Z. That's what I did. I mean, when I started, I was in the loft of my house, and I just had cardboard boxes, big cardboard boxes, and I labelled them. It might have been say one through to like 10, or and then after that it went from A to Z. And yeah, I would just go around in a circle, and I would just put everything that I bought from the car boot. I'd come back, and then I would just drop them in, and then pretty much I'd label them A or B and everything like that. And then when something's sold, go up the ladder, go into the loft, and then dive down, take it out, and then go like that. But the thing is, what I found with that method, probably just like you, was one, I couldn't always find the item. And I don't know whether that was because of my labelling or anything like that. But two, as well, there'd be so much space as well that was like, I didn't know kind of how to properly organise things. Whereas when I moved to the box method, the space pretty much is always compressed, especially when you consolidate. And I will probably speak about that a little bit later. But yeah, it was just, I wanted it to be the most efficient storage method possible, where I go to it, know exactly where that item is, pick it out, and then every single time, say like a month goes by, I just consolidate and compress the space. So it's always efficient as possible, and there's always kind of like items in there. But
Can we just check with the chat? You can hear me now. I've just switched over the mic to the camera mic, so I might be a bit quiet, so I might have to speak up a little bit. But if someone can let us know, what you just said there about the space is so important as well, because especially now, storing things off-site using the new method that we're going to get into and talk about, I don't have to try and remember which box has space in. So what I used to do is list items and feel like, well, actually A2 has a lot of space in. So these items need to go into A2, A3 has a little bit of space. So sometimes I would skew something at A1, take them down to where I was storing the items, and then realise, oh, actually A1's full. So then I've had to go back into the list and edit the SKU of where I've actually put it. And I know we're going to go into lots of details, but with this new method, you never have to worry about it because you're always using new bags, new numbers for every single item. So it makes it a lot easier when you are talking about space and actually remembering where stuff can go.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the most important things for me as well, is because, I mean, when and I can show people, or I say show people, I mean, if anyone wants to go to, like, I think it's on my Instagram, probably one of the first pictures that I put up was just me in a storage container, and you can see the racks behind me. Now, unlike the, say, like the bin method, where you go to it and then you don't really know where the space is, anything like that, with the box method, and to be honest, this whole box method was created by Daily Refinement Chris, so it's kind of his method that I took off. But yeah, get to the end of the month, and then there's loads of, it's usually, well, for a lot of us, there's loads of space within these boxes. So when you get to the end of the month, because of all the stuff that you've sold, and then you go through the task of pretty much compressing each box, so then when you get to the end, you should then have everything in there. But yeah, it's saved me so much time. But you've recently I think you've recently moved over to this from the everything. And do you think it's more so the fact that you've niched down, or you think that this box method could work pretty much for everything that's of a similar size?
I think it can. I think it can work for every single, most items you can do, because even if you was to store shoes, you can still put shoes and do it in the same system. If you was to do cameras, you can do the same. The thing with the box method is you need stuff which is a similar size to make it work. As an everything seller, what is difficult? You are storing some small items, like this size, and the next thing you are storing huge, like printers or bread makers. So to have that system work is near on impossible to store it in that way. So I think for me, niching down made me realize that actually, is there a quicker way to store things? Is there a more efficient way to store things? And I honestly didn't believe this way was going to save me as much time as it does. We're not talking about just when you put the items away, but I see it when I pick items now. I can pick 20 to 30 items in literally 5 minutes or less. And it literally is just walking to the area, grabbing the bag out into an IKEA bag, next number, bang, next number, bang, next number, bang. Beforehand, you used to have to go through the boxes, and that would take so much time, especially when you had loads of stuff in one box. If you had 10 items in a box, not so bad. But sometimes I had, maybe 80 small items in one crate, and you're looking for one small item in that crate. And there was times where I've got it all out, realise it's not there, and then realise what I've actually done is skewed it wrong on the eBay system. So another thing I do now with storing, and I'm not sure whether you do the same, is my final photo is actually that. That is my final photo, which is the item and the SKU number. So the final photo I'll do on the board is the SKU number, because if I type this number wrong on eBay, what happens is I can see when I go to pick the item, well, that's not there or that's not right. And then what I can actually do is click on the last picture and find exactly what the item is. And again, that has saved me not just time, but also defects on, not being able to find items. So that would be a recommendation.
With that as well is, yeah, if you put it in the, if you type it wrong, but also if you're selling similar as well, you might forget to change that SKU number. So just you having that at the end. So when I'm picking, if I'm going through the unit, I'm picking all the orders out, and then usually I'll just double check by color rather than actually get the item out and then looking at it. If the color's wrong, then that probably, or it looks different, then I'll double check it. If the SKU number's slightly wrong on there, then I'll look at the final picture as well. So it just gives you that double check as well. And then when we go over, say like when we're listing, and then we say like launching items as well, I always do a double check on the SKUs. So, but the way that I do it is when I'm bulk listing, I'll go down and all the SKU numbers should be in numerical order. So if I've sold similar off an item and then it doesn't go in order in terms of the SKUs, then I'll know something's wrong there and I'll double check it. But if I do miss that and then I go towards the picking side, that's another step where I can double check. So really at the end, there's no excuses for me shipping out the wrong item. It should always be that item. But we'll go on to that at a different time. But I love the idea, and I don't know if you guys do it as well, but just taking that final picture of the SKU number, it helps a lot, and it saved me a lot of times.
Let's talk a little bit about your photo there, Luke, if we can. So you came up with the idea, and I don't do this personally, to actually raise up the bottom bar to actually have a new rack underneath, which is really smart because actually otherwise you'll just put it on the shelf. But the fact that you can have it on the floor. So in one of them racks alone, how many items can you store?
Let me just see, because I think it's around. So per box, the thing is, if you're storing t-shirts, then you could probably get, say, 20 to like 35 t-shirts in a box. I know that seems quite varied, but you can get a lot in there. Whereas say if you're doing hoodies or, you know, puffer jackets, things like that, then you could probably get, say, 12 in there. So it really depends. So I would go on an average of kind of 15 per box. Per boxes, or sorry, how many boxes can fit on one rack? You can fit 4 across the top, and then 3 on basically anything below the top shelf. I do 3, so there's a tiny gap between each one, because when it was 4, then it was just too compressed, too cramped. And then not that unit, the other unit has another row going down the other side, so it gives you a bit more wiggle room to pull it out. So yeah, so there's 19 boxes times by, say, 15 items per box. You can fit around 285. But the thing is, that could vary. That could be 250 all the way up to, say, 400. If you're doing t-shirts, and say you just did purely t-shirts, football shirts, anything like that, then say you could get around, I don't know, say you can get, say, 30 per box. 30 times 19, you get 570. So it's crazy, the difference. So that's why, and someone actually asked me the question, I'll go over it later. It's like if you was doing it just from your bedroom with, say, like 1 or 2 racks, like I can fit an absolute ton just on one rack. Imagine that you could have a 600 item store selling, say, like 10 a day, average sale price of, say, like around 30. You can live a comfortable lifestyle. Like it's brilliant what you could do with just one rack. But in terms of what you were saying about the idea of raising it up one, on all the pictures when you get these shelves, they put the first shelf they'll actually put on the floor. So that'll class as, say, one shelf. Whereas when you can see there's basically 6 different levels, but one of those levels is the bottom, and that's when you raise the bottom bar up. So I kind of like looked at the amount of sections that you can put the shelving in, and it was like 11 points. So if you did 11 points and then 11 points and 11 points all the way up to the top, it's equal distance apart, but you can get 6 shelves in there. So yeah, it gives you a whole extra row, which times by, you'd say, like three boxes, 19 items, or whatever it works out to be. It's a lot more items. So yeah, that worked out really well. And then I think I told a few of the guys, and then yeah, they absolutely love it as well. So nice, cool.
Yeah, I think it's a great setup, and I think it's great to show how much stuff you can get. And you're right, you know, for the people who haven't got garages and stuff, you could run a really good, comfortable eBay business in your bedroom. Yes, you've got to be a little bit more selective with regards to the items you buy, because you might not be able to pick up the big puffer jackets and stuff. So do your jackets all go in the boxes now? Because I've started to store mine on like clothes rails. And for me, that's been a real game changer. So when you've got your big coats, your big jackets, instead of trying to not just squash them into the small bags, I literally take them down and hang them on the rail. And with the SKU number, I literally just stick on the SKU number, normally just on the label here. So normally I just put the sticker on this one, hang them on the rails. I've got a cover over the rails, which means they're going to be protected. And then when I come to sell it, just flick through the rails, get the item out, and then it's ready to ship. So how do you store your coats and jackets and the bigger items? And, you know, if you have like dungarees and stuff, you know, the stuff that is hard to get in them small bags.
This is the thing, like I'm obsessed with it fitting into one system, but there's only so many times I can pass up, say, I don't know, just getting, say, like a Carhartt active jacket. There's no way that in an XL is fitting in that box unless you literally fold it probably 2 times and then lay it down. And to be honest, you're taking up like the space of like 10 other things possibly going in there. So I just don't see that as being efficient. So what I did do, which I haven't kind of progressed to something that you're speaking about, is I've just literally put them in IKEA bags, and then they're like stacked up at the minute. It's terrible. So that's why when you were speaking about getting a rail, I was like, oh, that'd be perfect, because I've filled up one of those containers there fully, and then the other one halfway. So I have another half side where I could literally put a double rail. And I was like, I don't want any more than, say, 20, 30, maybe like 40 max of like big jackets. So I could just max out, say, 2 rails, and then just say after that, I don't buy any more until I literally sell, and then I can put another one on that rail. So I'm probably going to get the 2 rails. I didn't even think about the cover, what you were speaking about, so that's really good. And yeah, SKU label would be directly on the size tag, and yeah, I think that's a good way of doing it. But I would literally, I think I write on the SKU just container, and then when you filter on your phone, when you're going to pick the items, when you filter to custom label SKU, whatever you've put, say like if I've written room or anything like that on it, that will come up before the numbers, so I'll know that that's like there and it's separate. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do with that, because I've got a lot of jackets and they're just literally in IKEA bags, and when it sells, it's an inconvenience because I've then got to pick the IKEA bags off each other. And it's basically the bin method that we was kind of like going against like from the early days. So yeah, that 100% needs to be sorted out, mate.
And I'm keen on some advice, because in the next 3 or 4 weeks, when I've cleared all the everything stuff, garage A is literally going to be empty. So I actually need to buy some more racks and rack out as well. But I'm in 2 minds whether to have one garage completely racked out with the racks for the box method, and then have the other garage just railed out and have rails that just run right the way parallel across the garage. But there again, I don't know how quickly I'll be able to fill the rails up, because I've got 2 6-foot long rails at the moment, and I've only probably got 9 jackets on there at this point. So I don't know whether that's a complete waste of space. So what I might do is just have in one garage some more racks, and then just keep it as the one long rail. And if in the future I need to add any more, just move it around. But you run out of 2 garages as well, don't you? So you're similar to me. So do you kind of know where one SKU stops in garage A and one SKU starts in garage B? And how do you manage that?
So when I get there in the morning, I think I'm up to, what are we up to? So we're up to over 13,000 now on the SKUs. So
oh, you're a bit further than me.
It's a tiny bit ahead. Yeah. So what I'll do is, like, there's an overspill. So like I said, I've completely filled out one unit, and then it goes over to about a quarter of the second unit at the minute. So once we've consolidated, we get a little bit of room back. But I'll open both garages. Open both storage units, and I'll go to the one where it's because when you filter by SKU, the top goes the highest number on your phone. So I'll go straight to the second unit, and I'll start from there, and I'll work backwards. So I'll go pick those ones in the second unit, and then once that's done, and then once there's no more like big jackets or anything like that, I can close that container, go around, and then I pick in order from the second unit. So it works out like that.
Makes sense.
Is that kind of how you do it as well?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, because at the moment, as I say, because it's split everything in clothing, it's very easy for me, because I've got the clothing garage, and so all my clothing items in there. And then if it's a non-clothing item, I know it's in the other garage. But that's my biggest concern, in the sense of, if I'm working with 2 garages, do I need a split? But I like your idea, starting with the highest SKU number, and know you're working backwards. So as soon as you get down to the lowest SKU number and it's not in that garage, you shut it up and then go to the next garage. Otherwise, I feel the fear is you're just constantly going back and forth. Like, I've got one from here, one from there. And I think that's how you miss things. And I know your garages aren't too far away from where you are, same as mine. So worst case scenario, if you do get home and you are missing one, it's not the end of the world. But we talk a lot about efficiency. So you don't want to be going back and forth to collect that one extra item you've missed. So, I wanted to understand how you do it. I like the way of organising the SKU from highest to lowest, and to do it that way. So I'll probably end up doing the same.
Yeah, and that's why I like the way that the SKU system does it. So when I don't know why I started this, and I don't know why Chris did it like as part of his method, but it was like you start with 0, 0, 0, and then like you do your numbers. And I don't know whether it actually filters properly if you don't do that. So yeah, but it's always worked. But I just like how you pick in a system, and then once I get through one container, that shuts, and then straight onto the next one. And then once I get to the end, so I'll go down the line and then back. And then once I get to the end, then I know that's it, it's done. And then when I'm picking, I've literally got, say, 2 or 3 IKEA bags, depending on how many items we're picking. If we're picking, say, 20, should all fit in one IKEA bag, depending on like jackets and stuff like that. But I'll take like 2 or 3 in with me, and then actually cover me anyway, and then just goes whoop back in a polo, and then we're off.
What's been your defect percentage on losing items since you moved to this system? Do you feel it's dropped down? Are we talking like you maybe misplaced 2-3 items a year compared to before? What does it look like for you? Because I have noticed since using this new system, Like, I don't lose as many items, or I don't misplace, or I don't have to spend hours searching. It's pretty simple. So, what about you? Have you found your defect rate for losing items has dropped at all?
It's hard for it to drop if you're like what we were saying, like double checking everything. I mean, with that, when you guys saw the picture, sometimes because I've raised up one level and there's less space between the actual sections, sometimes the bags can get caught on, say, like the metal bit, and then they could drop down the back. And then
Drop down the
sometimes
back,
I've
yeah.
missed, yeah, sometimes I've missed that. So, but then when I'm consolidating and moving all the boxes out of the way, I notice that some have dropped down. But aside from things like that, I mean, it's really hard to actually lose something as long as you kind of like double checked, and then if you can't find it, you're double checking again, like around the back. Yeah, it's difficult to lose it. So yeah, ever since moving to that, when I was doing the bin method before, I would lose a lot, and I don't know whether that's just because I was new as well, and then maybe stuff like returns, cancellations.
Yeah.
There's mix up on the systems, like stuff like that can happen, but yeah, if you're skewing it properly, you're double checking, you're putting the skew number on the final picture as well. I don't see how you can go that wrong. But yeah, there's definitely going to be some instances, but it's such a rarity. And but yeah, I don't want to be not picking up things and stuff like that, because you only need so many defects as well, and stuff like out of stock. That's going to be your worst one. So if you can't get something out and then you put down the reasons out of stock, there's not many chances you get. So
Yeah.
that's
Not
why
great.
that being the highest defect that you do not want. That's why this having a good inventory storage system is absolutely critical.
I'll let you catch up on the chat. I know we're going to sort of go a lot deeper into it. I'm really keen to talk a lot about consolidation as well, which is a big thing, but I'll let you catch up first of all.
Yeah, that's definitely the worst thing about this. But once you understand it, then it's brilliant. But there, Lucy's question. I wish it was I wish that easily to have a box system like yours with toys, but everyone has to have systems that sort them and their business. Have this. Yeah, I mean, you could probably use it for a lot of stuff. I mean, if you was just getting toys that were, say, like 10 by 15 inches like max, then you're going to fit everything in there. You could do it with anything that fits in there. So, but it's just when there's like big bulky items and then there's small items, and then you put the smaller items in there but the big bulky items, like what we were speaking about the jackets, it just makes things a little bit more complicated. But if you got small items, then and they kind of like fit into that bag, then yeah, I guess you could. We've got Andy. I currently use the massive 140 litre Costco tubs, but have everything ready for the rack, box, sticker, skew, ready to go. Cheers, Luke. Yeah, no, Andy was moving to that as well. Like, yeah, I can't wait to see what he thinks about it. Just need the snow and rain to do one so I can empty the container a bit. Yeah, I mean, that's what I gravitated towards at the start. I don't think I bought many tubs. I think I just about found out about the box method when I was about to go out and buy a lot of them. But did you get plastic tubs? You did, didn't you?
I've got loads of plastic. I can't give them away, honestly. Someone come and collected some racks off me the other week, and I was like, look, I've got all these empty tubs. Do you want them? And he was like, no, I've got loads myself. But I think the one thing I'm really glad about is when I started clothing, I knew about the box method at that point. And you in me, other people in me are saying, do the box method, you won't regret it. So from day one, I've done it with clothing. So the only tub stuff is the everything stuff, to say, but that's on its way out. So yeah, I would recommend to anyone, if you are thinking about a storage system, to try the box method first of all. And I like what Andy said there about, sticker skew as well. Create a skew system for yourself from day one. A lot of people kind of skip that part when you start new, because you've only got 50 items. You kind of can visually say, oh, that's in there. I know where I put that. I know where to put that. As soon as you start getting over 100, 200, 300 items, like what you listed 2 weeks ago becomes a real blur. And that's where it slows you down. So yeah, get in the habit, if you can, to skew things from day one. And these are great. I mean, I think I get these from Amazon, and they're cheap enough. You can, I know Simon, General Marketing, has done a video on how you can print these yourself as well. So there's that option. But these come in rolls of 1,000, and yeah, they're brilliant. Just stick them onto your bags, and you're good to go. Just makes life a lot easier.
Yeah, I'd say like up to 50 items, you can scatter them about wherever you want. You're probably going to remember exactly where you put them, but yeah, as soon as you get over that, I mean, if I was, I think I was about 400 or 500 items, and then I found out about the box method, and I basically bought all the racks, everything like that, and then did it in my loft, so built them up there, and it took me a weekend to get everything over from an old system over to the new system, and it was frustrating. It was long, and then it was like me trying to figure out how you consolidate and stuff like that. But literally a solid 2 days, and 2 years down the line, it's been the best thing I've implemented since I started. So it's way worth it. But I think Andy had another one as well. So the massive tubs are very heavy when you have them stacked 4 or 5 high. Yeah, that's a safety hazard as well, mate. So yeah, imagine picking them off each other, trying to lift them down. Jesus, you have some big shoulders. And Tommy, my storage boxes have just been mixed and matched, picking up the odd one here and there. I recently upgraded to some racking and defo feel the need for orderly sized boxes, tubs to make the most of it. Yeah, I mean, having everything the same as well. And we'll go over, say, like what boxes we use, shelves, stuff like that, just to help you guys out if you want to get them ordered. I won't be pinging any links or anything like that, but I'll just give the measurements just so you know pretty much where to go.
Yeah, I think the slight ADHD in me, like the boxes for me have to be the same. I struggle with the whole thing of you can get boxes from here and they all look different. For me, it has to be the same, and they don't. You know, for a lot of people, you can just use what works for you. I know Simon will probably be typing in the chat where he gets his ones from, the freebies, but for me, they have to be all the same. That's just my ADHD brain, I think.
Yeah, that's what I was going to speak about later with, because Tommy actually asked me a question about just your supplies and that, and I just like ordering mass bulk, exactly the same thing, and then knowing exactly how long that's going to keep. Basically, I'm going to need them for. So when it comes to like poly bags, if I know exactly how many I'm selling per day, I know exactly how long they're going to be lasting. So I love that. And then in terms of cardboard boxes, when I set out my shelves, and then I'm like, right, 19 fit per rack, I'm getting X amount of shelves, so I need X amount of boxes. So it's just nice to know that, rather than like getting bits here and there or whatever works. You can do, and you can be resourceful as much as you want. But I just like having it all there, all in place, the exact measurements that I need. Jay, I think this is Joe. That's my question for from One Room. My plan is to have 300 items store and sell 1k per week. Wow, a small store but high ASP. Yeah, is that? I mean, I think it's beautiful, especially like for the part-time guys as well. If they did, or if anyone wanted to stay below, say like 300 items, but just do a very high ASP, I think it can definitely work.
Beautiful store. We had a good chat about that on Friday, actually. It's similar, not the sort of small store, but talking about the importance of ASP. I'm really focusing on that next year. That's going to be a huge thing for me, getting the ASP up on the items and kind of not just listing stuff that's not worth my time to list. So yeah, you can 300 item store. If you're having 30-40 pound ASP, happy days.
Yeah, 100%. So ideal. Luke, what size boxes do you use on the racks? So, it's the equivalent, and you might not get it bang on, but it's 8 inches by 30 by 30. So that is, yeah, is it 8 by? Is that the ones, James? 8 by 30?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I always forget. I always have to go into the WhatsApp chat to remember the measurements, but yeah, that does sound right. What we can do, we will drop the measurements in. Yeah, double check it now, but we can also drop the measurements in under the video after today. We probably won't share the links, and the reason why we don't really share the links for the boxes is because we don't want them to skyrocket in price, but more importantly be sell out, because that's happened before where someone, I think it was Chris in the group, shared the link with the group, and I think they sold out within about 10 minutes. So but you can get them from anywhere. You just got to go and source them and do what works for you. But
yeah, so I think it's 8 by 8 by 30. So yeah, but what the reason why is because we use 10 by 14 inch bags as well, and they fit in there perfectly. And in terms of the bag is just slightly bigger than the box, so that there'll be a little bit at the top sticking out where you can grip the bag, but also so you can put the SKU number right at the very top of the bag, so that you can literally see the first number when you're looking at the cardboard box. So when all those items are looking at you, you can see the number, so you haven't got to pick it up, double check what's at the front, and it's very useful. Let me just go to my allotment diary. Any recommendations where to get the shelves from? I get them from eBay. So the measurements are 180 by 90 by 60. 180 by 90 by 40 can work, but because the boxes are 30 inches long, if you pack them a lot, and there's quite a lot that overhangs on each side, so they can bend, and if you don't get good quality boxes, they're probably going to break. So I would get, in terms of the width, I would get the 60-inch shelves, so 180 by 90 by 60. Is that the ones that you got as well, James, or did you get the 40?
Yeah. Well, I made a mistake first of all, because the first lot of racks I brought were too not deep enough, and that's a huge mistake, because I was putting the boxes on there, and I was putting a couple of items in, the box was naturally tipping forward and falling off, and I was thinking, like, there's no way all these people are raving about this method. Anyway, so just make sure you get enough depth on the shelf to make sure that the box goes well on there, because Luke's absolutely right. A couple of items is going to be fine, but as soon as you've got 20, 30 items in a box, it's going to all push down if the rack is not deep enough, basically. So don't make that mistake. So make sure you get them deep enough.
Yeah. Andy, I bought 5 racks and currently have 700 items listed. So looking at your setup, I should fit all that on 2 to 3 racks. I'll have so much room in my storage container. Yeah, you're gonna, mate. It's insanely efficient. And if, like I said, if you do lightweight items, say like you do windbreakers, t-shirts, shorts, anything like that, then you're gonna be able to fit so much in there.
I love how he's like, I'll have so much room in my storage container. I used to think that when I had 2 garages, you quickly fill it up, Andy. So circle back in about 6 months, you'll be like, I need another one.
Yeah. Are you actually bagging the bulky jackets, etc., then hanging them on the rack, or bagging them only once they have sold? So when I picture stuff, I bag them straight away. So I'll picture stuff, put them in the bag, then I'll put the SKU on it. I'll put them all in an IKEA bag, and then in the morning when I go to pick my orders, I will take all the ones that I've pictured, bagged and skewed, and I will take them all down. But if, like I said, if it's a massive, if it's dungarees or it's like a huge jacket, then I will just put that separately. I'll put the SKU on it, but then I will put that separately in the bag. So I'll take that down. But yeah, like I say, I don't like anything that's not in an orderly system, so it's annoying. But yeah, that's pretty much how I do it. But what about you, James?
Yeah, so with I used to do it the same way. I used to put them in. I either used to put them in the bags if they would fit, or I would just use one of the eBay mailing bags and put them in there and stick the SKU on that. But then I was finding that I was having to use a shelf just to stick them bags on. It's not the most efficient way, which is why I got the rails. Because as I said earlier, now what I do is literally, if I was to do this item here and it was a jacket, I would stick the SKU number on there. I've got loads of hangers, so I'll just put it on a hanger, and it literally sits on the rail that way round, on the close rail, and then the cover goes over the top. It's got a couple of zips on the cover, so when this item sells, zip goes up, item comes off the hanger into the IKEA bag back here, and then I'll put it straight into one of the eBay bags, whatever it may be. So that's how I do it. So the jackets do not go in the clear bags, just because there's no way then for me to hang them. That's the only reason.
Yeah, so either way, it's like in James's case, either way it's protected. So it's in the bag or it's on the rack underneath the protector.
Yeah, the cover's important. I think if you're going to do it on a rail and you're going to put them in the garage, make sure you've got a cover over it, just because of like moisture and stuff as well. And that will quickly start to make your garment smell. So that's why I got the cover.
Yeah, I think it's probably also important to like distinguish the difference between our setups as well. So if you've got an external storage container, storage unit, anything like that, but so mine's a 20-foot storage container, so it's supposed to be like airtight. There's a few like holes around the top of it so the air can actually get in. But yeah, that's the difference between mine and then James. How did you actually get your storage?
Okay, so I have 2 council garages, and I was always under the impression that you need to have a council property to have a council garage. I kind of thought that would make sense. And then it was speaking to a couple of people in the group who said, well, I've got a council garage and I own my house. And I'm thinking, okay, so let's inquire. And I literally made an application online. And after a couple of days of hearing nothing, I thought, do you know what? Be proactive and give them a call. I gave the local council a call, and they said, yeah, we've got a couple in your area. Well, they said they've got 4 in the area. And they said, do you want one or more? And I thought, well, 1. And then I thought to myself, actually, if I fill this up quickly and the other 3 go, I'm going to be kicking myself. So anyway, I took 2 at the time, which at the time was a bit of an overkill because I didn't fill both garages. One garage was literally empty, but I knew the plan. moving forward with clothing and the way I wanted to rack it. So anyway, yeah, two garages through the council, and I've had zero, touch wood, I've had zero issues in them. And as most people know, you watch my channel, like they are literally a minute walk down the road. It's great. It is such a dream. And I spoke to somebody the other day who was thinking about getting a new garage, and they were saying it's about a 35-minute drive each way to the garage. And on a one-off, you kind of feel like, oh, do you know what, that's doable. But when you're making that journey every day, and as I said about earlier, we all make mistakes. If you get home and realise there's one item you haven't picked, you've got to do that journey again. That's like 2 hours out of your day. So I say to people, that's not the right garage for you. Try and find something local to you, whether that be 5 minutes, 10 minutes down the road, whether it be right on your doorstep. But they're not expensive. I pay less than £150 a month. And that's for the two garages. So it's like £74 or whatever a month per garage. And it's the best investment I've made in my business. But I only made the investment when the time was right. Because if you look at my earlier YouTube videos, you will see all my stuff used to be in here. I used to have racks in here, used to be all behind me. And I used to have like a middle rail here on wheels. So literally my space was like, this door would only open, the rest of it wouldn't. And I was just full of stuff. And the time I decided I needed to make a move is what we were talking about tubs earlier, where I had to move like 3 or 4 tubs out of the way on the floor, which was stacked up just on the floor, to get to a tub behind it, to then put the tubs back to realise I've left one item in the tub. And it was at that moment I said I need space. So I would recommend staying in your current situation. If you've got ways to store items and you're not paying for storage, stay there as long as you can. Don't suddenly go out and say I need a warehouse to make it look like I'm a big seller. You're better off staying where you are as long as possible. And if I could have made it work without paying for storage, I would have done so, because the dream is that you sell an item, turn around, grab it, you ship it straight away. But at some point you need to kind of hit the point of saying, do you know what, it's more time efficient for me to spend a little bit of money and actually have some off-site space.
Yeah, I think you did what I did in a way, where you kind of hit your capacity and then you went. So you was at basically the point where you're just running out of space, and you was kind of ready to move at that point. Because that's pretty much exactly like me. Like, I took advantage of the loft space, and then I went from the loft plus my bedroom, and then it was loft plus bedroom plus the missus garage. And then at that point I was like, right, we're selling a decent amount. Like, we're all over the place in terms of like at home, at her house, everything like that. So I think it's a good time to look into different options. And there's a lot of different options as well. I mean, you could probably have a shed. Like, you could probably have something in your garden. There's also, to be honest, they're quite expensive companies like, is it Big Yellow? Big Yellow?
Yeah, so Big Yellow and stuff do like the storage units out. And I did, before I got the garage, I did look at them, and it was coming out, for the same space I've got, it was coming out nearly £700 a month just to store it in there.
So much.
You've got them. You've also got the places where you can like hire an office space, and it could be on 2 floors. You've got that as well. So there is lots of options, but I was in the same boat as you, mate. And again, the big tell for me is when stuff was piling up in the lounge, and you kind of you're always surrounded by it. And what I love here, I close these shed doors, and I hope Leanne's not watching. 99% of the time, when I walk in the house, there's no eBay related stuff in there. And that's nice to kind of just switch off and get away from it. Because beforehand, in the lounge in the corner, there'd be crates stacked up with stock. And yeah, you hit the point. But like, you probably feel the same. Like you mentioned it there, hitting your capacity is so key. Don't just start with 50 items and say, oh, I need to go and get a warehouse, because you're paying all this money out and you haven't got a store big enough to do that. So most people start in their bedroom, and actually if you can continue and run a great eBay store in your bedroom, it's the dream.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I think in terms of space and storage, I think it's probably the cheapest element in your business. Because when you look at like per item sold, the cost of storage is nothing. It's not a lot. It really isn't. Especially even kind of like what I'm paying, and I've got a good deal for what I've got, but it's still not cheap. But when I was saying, when I first hit capacity, I was looking at all these different options. So in terms of like a shed, in terms of those companies like Big Yellow and Easy Storage, all the stuff like that was fairly close by. And then there was also options, say like what you had in terms of council garages. To be honest, at that time I didn't really know anything about it, and I didn't even want to do research into it. And then I found shipping containers, and at first I was like, why don't I look into? I was thinking about 40 foots with like, you know, you could work from them commercially. So do a 40 foot, half of it be like storage container, half of it be photo set up, and then run power to it if there wasn't. I was thinking about that, and then I decided on a 20-foot container just because I felt it was the most safe option. So I just felt it was that I don't know, I just felt insanely comfortable choosing that because 24-hour security there as well, and it's a massive like steel container. And yeah, so do you think, I don't know, in terms of security as well, are you fully comfortable with where you're at in terms of that? Because I think there was a question down here as well. Let me just
Yeah,
get
I
it
saw
up.
Sean. I saw Sean's question. So, thinking about the storage thing, I don't know if you remember it. Do you remember just before I got the council garages, I went and saw a stable, like a barn,
Yeah,
like a horse barn? Do you remember me
that was
going to
cool.
that? And that was a huge space. And I was like, oh, okay. And that was going to cost me, I think, around £250 a month. It was big space, but I didn't feel, although there was people on site, I actually felt like my stuff would not be as safe there compared to what it is now in a weird way. Do I worry about things getting stolen from the garage? I don't lose sleep over it because if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. I can't control it. Do I worry? Yeah, sometimes when I pull in, I'm thinking, oh my God, I hope the garage door's still there. It's one of them. How do I prevent it? I've got alarms on the garage door. And I must admit, the people who overlook the garages are on the ball. And I say this because I went down there the other day at 5 o'clock in the morning to grab some items before I was going out to do something for the day. And I was in one of the garages, and someone came over to me with a torch and was basically like, "You all right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you." And he was like, "Yeah, I just want to check you weren't robbing the place." So there is people who are on it. But the truth be told is, if someone wanted to break into the garage or anywhere, they're going to break in. So do I lose sleep over it? No. Do I tell everyone exactly where they're positioned? No, as well. That's another thing I'm quite careful of. But yeah, I guess, are you ever really safe? Is your stuff stored? If I stored all the stuff in here down the garden, is it really safe? Could someone smash through the side of the garage? Yes, but maybe not so much knowing it backs onto your house. I don't know. Is it safe? Not 100%.
Yeah, and I feel like there's only so far you can go with it. I mean, I think you've spoke to certain people about how you could make it kind of as secure as you could possibly get it, and I think there was stuff about, you know, you can bolt stuff into the floor, you could
Oh yeah, the
tags
lock will
like,
drop to the floor.
yeah, yeah. So there's different ways you can go about it. I mean, yeah, in terms of my storage container, if someone wanted to get in there, they probably could anyway, even though there's security, everything like that. So, but yeah, I just felt the most comfortable for me being in there. But also another thing as well, because I know some people have spoke about this, is like insurance for your storage. So is that something that you ever looked into or ever thought about, like actually insuring your stuff in case anything did go wrong?
Yeah, don't get me wrong, I have, especially with moving into the garages. Because Sean's saying, do you worry? Like, there is a part of me to say, if someone was to break in, okay, so first of all, are they going to want to steal loads of second-hand clothing? Don't know. Are they going to really want to pile that onto the car? It's not that they're breaking into a garage and seeing, I don't know, a car in there, whatever it is. So that kind of puts my mind at ease a little bit to feel like, do you know what? If you want to steal all the clothing, like, you're going to steal it and blah, blah, blah. But on the flip side with the insurance, what I worry about is how can you prove it? So if majority of my stuff comes from a car boot sale, like with the insurance company, what am I going to say to them? Well, my stock is valued at, do they go off your eBay listed? Because you could easily just go on there and just up your prices by 90% and then say, well, look, my store value was this. You know, I think insurance companies will always look for a way not to pay you out. So no, I don't have anything insured. So if someone does break in, they want to nick some clothing, they're going to do it. What about you? Are you covered? Is that part of your agreement with the? Because I know with Big Yellow, you have to. From working, I worked in Big Yellow when I was young, and you have to have insurance for that, either your own insurance or take out their insurance as part of the agreement. So what about you, where you are? Do you have to have an insurance or?
So that makes it even more expensive then.
Yeah.
To be honest, I spoke to when I first started out, when I knew that there was going to be kind of like 1,000 plus items, I was thinking, wow, you know, there's quite a lot tied up in here, and if something does go wrong or if someone does take it all, that's a lot in terms of stuff that I could have potentially sold. So I looked into it a little bit, but it's exactly what you were saying. It's like, if it happens, then how do I prove? How do I actually get a payout? And I don't think they're going to go through market value. Like, I wouldn't if I was an insurer. And we have no, like, especially if we're going
No
to
receipts.
car boot, stuff like that. Yeah, where's your receipts? So I think it'd probably be incredibly hard to get a payout, if any. So yeah, we're running the risk, but I don't know any alternatives or any cheap alternatives. And I've spoke to some people who have insurance, and I even like posed the question to them, like, if anything happens, what is the procedure? How do you get paid out of this? And then they're not fully aware. So yeah, it's a difficult one with that, and I'd love to hear if anyone has actually got insurance. So yeah, I would like to see that. I think Andy was just saying something about it, actually. Let me just pop to that one quickly. I don't have insurance, but the company I use for my storage container says our items are fully insured. Wow. They've never asked what I have stored, so I don't know how that works. Yeah, I
That's
wouldn't
what
know
it's
how that works,
saying
because
there. Like,
you could just say you got anything in there.
yeah, I've got a Ferrari in there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's one of them. It's like, how do you prove it? Insurance is always, it's like your home insurance, isn't it? At the end of the day, it's all the same. You know, you pay all this money for insurance, and when it comes to paying out, they will do anything to not pay you out. So yeah, we are running a risk. That's the truth.
Yeah. And then I think you're just asking you something back here as well. James, are those lights in your shed attached to the mains or battery operated? I need something for my storage container. And it has no electric. Yeah. Working full time, it's dark when I finish work. Yeah, I'll go through some of the ways that I do it. But yeah, go on. It's mainly a question
These are mains. So luckily for me, my dad's an electrician. So when we had this shed built and I was working from it, he actually ran connected up to the next door neighbour's electric. No, I'm joking. Ran it from our house right the way down the garden. So in here I've got 2, 4, 6, 8 plug sockets in the shed. And these are just from Amazon. I think they were like 20 quid, and they just stick onto the rails, and then they just plug into the mains. But you can get for the garages, I've looked at these as well, you can get little ones that stick on, and you just kind of click them in and they create a little bit of light. I was speaking to someone about this the other day. I don't really go down to the garages at night. Sometimes it's first thing in the morning, and I use the trusty phone light. And I've also got 2 ring lights down there with a couple of power banks as well. So worst case scenario, I plug in the power bank, switch it on, ring light goes on, and I can use that to see. But yeah, I don't have any lighting down there, like fixed lighting. What about you?
I've literally got a beanie hat with a torch on it. So one little click and bang. Thing is, it's not crazy bright, but it's enough for me to, when I'm looking through the boxes, like enough for me to see the SKU number and that as well. But I was speaking to my brother who, he gets loads of tools for his work. So I was saying, like, do you know anything that I could get where it's got like a magnet so that I can put it on, say, like the top of the unit and like angle? And he goes, yeah. So he sent me it, and so if anyone wants a link for that, then I'll try and find it. But yeah, he said it's insanely bright, so I think I'm going to get that. It's just a light USB, charge it, and then just like stick it to the container. I'm guessing yours is like a steel or something like that, and then just angle it, and then it'll bright up the whole thing. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna get that as well. But in terms of like locks and stuff like that, sorry, was you gonna say something about that?
No, I was just going to add to Andy's thing about that. Don't go crazy on the amount of money you spend on lighting. Depends on how long you're going to stay down there. Like if I was working down there for hours and hours and hours on end, I'd probably invest a little bit more to make sure it's all like brightly lit up. But I am literally in the garages no longer than 20 minutes most days, unless I'm consolidating or unless I'm doing something else. I'm literally in, pick the items, door goes down, lock goes on, I'm back home. But if you are going to work out there, then spend a little bit more. But if not, don't go over the top, is what I'd recommend.
Yeah, I mean, even that, I mean, God knows how much that beanie hat is. It's not a lot at all. So just something like that, something for the winter, just brighten up, just pretty much just about enough for you to see what you're doing in front of you. Don't really need much more than that. I just wanted something a little bit more lit for when I'm down there.
Go on Temu. That's the in thing in the moment. At Temu, you can get things like, I was looking at the heated gilets yesterday.
Yeah,
just
they're
on Amazon, they're like 90 quid, and on Temu, they're like 23 quid. And I'm like, yeah, but is this going to blow up when it's on my body? But Temu's great for that kind of thing, for lights. Little shout out to Temu, who is our sponsor of the channel now as well.
I wish. Yeah, I think Gary Neville had one on Sky, and he was doing a thing on his Instagram, and he had one on underneath. Yeah, I was like, what is this? And then now I see him everywhere. So yeah, it's Bolo, isn't it? And let me just see. I think Andy might. I think he's got one more. So my storage place is full, but they're looking to add another level of containers on top of that. Yeah, I've seen it when they do that. It looks mad. Of my current ones, storage owners must be killing it as new ones appear, and it's full within. They get snapped up.
Lots of money.
I think the average kind of around here is like 200 plus VAT, something like that, maybe a little bit more. I think I pay 150, so I think I get it at a good deal. And then as soon as another one came up, it was the one directly next to it. So that's what I'm saying about when I closed one container, I literally walked to the other one, and I took that off him straight away. But I didn't need it at the time, but I knew within a month or two I was going to be able to grow into it. So yeah. But yeah, I've seen it when they stack them on top, and then they get like a set of stairs going up. So yeah, they're probably doing very well.
They're killing it. We're in the wrong game.
Yeah. Oh, apparently, Chuggles is going. You wouldn't trust the heated gilet from anyone, let alone Timu.
What do you mean, Chuggles? Our sponsors, Timu. You got to trust them. But no, I'm the same. I always think to myself, like, nice and cozy, but then when that starts burning into your skin, you got to worry.
Yeah, that's what Sean's saying as well. He's going there amazing. And then let me just see, where was we going to go? Yeah, Simon was just saying about he uses a stick on lights, £25 from B&M. So yeah, I mean, you just, as long as you get enough light when you're in there, because like James said, like even if I'm picking say like 40 plus, I'm still there for like not long at all. So you only need a little bit of light. You don't need to go crazy. I just wanted something a little bit cool in there. Yeah. Lucy, my systems for New Year is as soon as stock comes in from a car boot sale or from Facebook, then take them straight to the shed, sort it out straight away, and bring it to the photograph in office. Yeah, get it in, get it out.
We were speaking about the other day about how the excitement of when parcels come in online. I was speaking to Luke about it. It's like I will literally go and pick them up, and I want to come straight down the garden, get them set up on the photography station, get them photographed, get them drafted, and get them ready to be sold. And like, I know what you mean there. When you get some really good items come in, but then on the flip side, I had a Mew camera sitting in an IKEA bag for 2-3 months doing nothing, and I thought, oh, on Friday I'll list it, and guess what sold within like half an hour? The Mew camera, like 85 quid just sitting there chilling. And I'm like, why do I do this kind of thing? So yeah, don't have things just sitting around, people. Just get them listed and get them sold.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna go to the Instagram question. So we got a couple. So the first one, Tommy Trades. I think he's in here at the minute, or he might have left. But he goes, so does bulk buying eBay packaging save on storage space of random boxes and bags? And I had to ask him like to double check what he actually meant. But rather than like kind of being resourceful and getting like boxes for like storage here and there and packaging, things like that, he said that he's seen people bulk buy like eBay packaging and boxes and bags and stuff like that. And I do exactly that. So I will bulk buy, usually around when it comes to poly mailers, clear plastic bags, cardboard boxes, a certain aspect, so 8x8 inches, I do them for the caps, and then the cardboard boxes for the shelving. That was a one-time payment just so that I could completely kit out the shelves. Yeah, I order them, usually those bags, like 2,000-3,000 at a time. So yeah, I'll mass get them in bulk, and then my packaging costs, which is say like SKU labels, clear bags, poly bags. I'm probably missing a few other things as well, but it comes to probably around 10 to 15p per item it works out to be. But that's for like everything. So yeah, I get them in bulk because I want to stack them up right behind me. And then when it gets to a certain level, I'll then order that same amount again, and it will last me months. So that's me. What about you, mate?
Do the same. So I think I ordered 3,000 of these clear bags when I started to do clothing. And I think I also ordered 3,000 of these just plain poly bags. And then with the eBay voucher, I either get the bigger eBay bags, like so, or down here, digging deep in the storage, get these eBay boxes, which are great for some of the everything stuff. Also good for hats as well. Hats fit pretty good in there. And that's what I tend to do. But yeah, I think if you're going to be in it for the long game, we all know if you order in bulk, it saves a lot of money. So I think the next order of the poly bags and the clear bags, probably 5,000 of each, because I have the room to store them. And I'm like you, when it drops down to the last like 1,000, that's when I'll reorder. Because the last thing I want to be doing is scrambling around trying to find some clear bags and waiting for an order to drop for like 3 or 4 days.
Yeah. Some people don't like the eBay packaging, but I actually love it because I pay so close attention to the actual packaging. When I'm using the eBay kind of like poly bags instead of the ones that I get, you know, the sticky section, like it doesn't get caught with your fingers. Like, and I hate that, you know, because you have to like really flick it off. Whereas the other ones, I'm like tearing it and it's like completely stuck to my finger. Whereas the eBay ones, like, nothing like that.
Things you're talking about are my worst nightmare. They end up everywhere in the shed. But I must admit, I agree with you about the bags, but the eBay boxes are a load of crap. They're so thin. They are so thin, and yeah, I always feel like they're just gonna like not hold. But I just use my voucher on them because I've got so many of the poly bags myself. So that's what I spend my vouchers on.
Yeah, it's pretty much same as me. Chuggles, like exactly the same. I usually use it for the boxes, stuff that, because with the poly bags I'm ordering loads, so I'm getting them at such a cheap price per bag. So yeah, I'll just use the £10 for the actual boxes itself. In terms of the poly bags that I buy in bulk, say like 2,000-3,000 plus of the 10 by 14 inch poly bags, and then I'll also buy, say for orders of like 2 or 3, which come in quite regularly, is way too big to go into that 10 by 14. So I'll buy the 20 by 14 by 20 by 14, and that gives a good amount of space for say like maybe like 2-3 hoodies, and then, or if someone bulk buys say like 10 plus t-shirts, it will go in that. And then for orders of like huge jackets and things like that, I've got massive bags. So I don't know what size they are. They're just I'll try and get one.
I know the ones you mean. I think they used to be purple. I'm seeing if I've got any. I don't know if I've got any anymore, but it used to be purple when I used to order them.
Yeah, and they'll fit jackets, they'll fit loads. So if someone buys say like 10 plus items, then they'll go in there. But if it's looking like, I don't know, it's hitting that capacity, then I'll do it in that, and then I'll put it in a cardboard box. So that's like the last resort. So it'll be in a big cardboard box. That pretty much from when I was an everything seller, I kept them all. So yeah, sometimes they come in handy. But yeah, that's the that's pretty much all the packaging. So boxes for caps, and then kind of all the different size bags. So I'm pretty much covered for any scenario that comes in. So yeah, and then if things are going like very high value in terms of GSP, or they're just high value items, so say like £200 plus, then I'll probably always put them in a box anyway. So yeah, I mean, do you look at that as well? Do you look at say if some things of like a certain a certain value, you'll protect it just that little bit more? Do you think that?
Yeah, I mean, with caps is a great example of that. If a cap sells for £10, I've got no issue putting it into a poly mailer. Never had any complaints. But if a cap's like £20-30, I will put it into a box. And yeah, I think you're right. If I was to sell a jumper for £100, it's getting boxed. No, I think just the presentation for the person receiving it on the other end as well, it goes a long way just to see that as well. But do you want to do a quick minute and a half talking about consolidation, because that goes into the part as well with the storage. So just try and describe in a minute and a half how to consolidate. Is that possible?
I don't know, because I'd be so bad at explaining this, but so where you're selling items, there's obviously gaps between those items. So I usually leave it a month, so around about a month, and then in a month usually 800 to 900 items will sell. So that's a large chunk. So if I've got at the minute I've got just over 2,500 items. So a month goes by and then 900 leave. So that's a lot of space being created like within these boxes. So then after a month I will go to it, and then I will start from the very beginning. So then I will then go to the first box, I will compress, and then I will, in the second box, I will take the ones at the front, and then I will put them in the space that's been created from me pressing it to the back of the first box, and then it will still be in skew order. And then what I'll do is I'll do that along the top, from left to right, and then go down, left to right, down, left to right, and then move on to the second shelf. And then I will do that, and it will take me about 2.5 hours to get all the way round and then into the second unit. And then at the end, I should have, say 900 items have sold. If you look at that in terms of like the shelves and say 9, 100 divided by, say, like 19. Well, I don't know how to do the maths, but usually it's like 4 shelves, something like that, has been created free. So it then gives us a chance to then basically you get that space back, which if you was just doing the normal bin method, it would be hard. It would be hard to do it like that. I don't know if that's a very good explanation.
I know.
But
I think for the amount of time you had to explain it, I think you've explained it perfectly. So you're literally just bringing everything from right to left, and what you're doing is bringing the front to the back, and you're just doing on every single one. And so when you come to the end, you should have, say you've got a whole rack at the end, it might create a whole rack of empty boxes. That's what you're aiming for. And then what you do, like I find what I do is I end up pulling a box out, having 3 or 4 items, move them in, chucking that box to a side, and you bring the box from the rack down and just do it that way. But yeah, consolidating is so much fun, and you quickly realise where you're like, oh, I'm running out of space. Actually, no, I'm nowhere near running out of space. So,
but the beautiful thing is, say if I can fit 2,500 items in one storage container, and then I sell 900. Say round it up. Say I sell 1,000 items per month, and then I list 1,000 items per month as well. I can then just stay in that storage container. I never have to leave it. So this is where the whole ASP and high profit per item items that are leaving. You can have a beautiful model just in one storage container, and then also what Joe sent me on Instagram as well, and we discussed it earlier. What would be your storage system model if you were just working out of one room? That's what I would aim for. I would aim for really high ASP and then selling pretty much what I'm listing or more, so I can just stay in that space. That's why this is so beautiful.
Yeah, I think if I was doing it out of like a bedroom, I would have like a free, maybe 400 eBay store, but all of them items in the eBay store are high ASP and good sell through, quick sell through, because I wouldn't want to have stuff sitting there for 3-6 months. I'll be looking at turning over the store like every 30 days, really. That would be the model I would go for. And it's possible, with the knowledge here, it's possible. I know a lot of people feel you have to have an eBay store of, 10,000 items to be a proper seller. You really don't. You can have a beautiful eBay store for 500 items, and you could be making more than the people with 10,000 items. So it's not all about how many items are listed, it's how many items have sold. That's what's really key.
Yeah, I just wanted to get through to one more as well, because it was Cap and Apparel saying, do changes in humidity concern you? So clothes being able to breathe whilst in 1 or 2 plastic stacked against more items within a sealed storage container. So just a question about humidity, so when it gets hot and when it freezes over, stuff like that. I've now had it for 2 cycles. So going into like the second cycle, where I've seen all the seasons and had this method, and no real issues. Yeah, no real issues. So that's me personally. I don't know if anyone else has had any issues, or my storage containers are slightly different to other people's. But yeah, in terms of heat, in terms of cold, everything like that, I've been fine throughout summers, winters, everything. So yeah, I don't take my word 100% for it, but I've been fine.
Yeah, I would say I'm the same. I mean, don't get me wrong. Now and again, you will see some little condensation drops on the roof, but I've never had anything drop down or make anything wet. And obviously, the tip that we probably haven't mentioned that's important for everyone to know, with your bags, obviously, when you seal the item in there, if you seal it right up, all the air gets trapped in, it makes it thick. One of the little tips is just make a little pinhole in your bag, let it out that air, and you can actually squeeze it and consolidate it right down. So it ends up like this kind of thing and that kind of thing, where you're not actually taking up like load space. That's a good tip. And I believe creating a little pinhole actually helps with that condensation part as well. I might be wrong. I don't really know the science behind it, but I've had no issues.
Yeah, that's what I do. I just put it in the bag, and then I slit the bag at the side. So if anything does, I've had a little bit of water drip from the top, but nothing crazy. But yeah, they're pretty much always protected in the bags, and then they can breathe throughout the side of the bag. And then I'm in the containers every single day anyway, so I'm always opening the door, even though it is like airtight. So there's always air getting to it every single day anyway, because I'm there on a regular basis. But yeah, so I think we've answered all them. There was one more from Richard saying, how do you guys store clothing items? But I think we pretty much went over Went over that, didn't we?
I think we talked about nothing
Yeah.
but story. And this is
Yeah.
great. And guys, you know, when we put out the post or when Luke puts out the post on Instagram, please come to us with questions. If you can't make the live, come to us with questions, because it's nice to have that little segment where we can answer your questions as well. We appreciate, like, you know, not everyone can make every single live at the live time. So any questions you do have, we're more than happy to answer. If we can't answer them live, drop us a message on the video afterwards and we can answer them then. 100%.
Yeah, because even if we run out of time or anything like that, I still want to get them done. So I'll try and do them a little bit earlier. But yeah, appreciate you guys jumping in again with your questions. And yeah, but we'll be back next week, mate. I'll let you know the topic during the week, because that might change.
Oh, interested. He's got a few things up his sleeve there. I can tell by his
Yeah, we've
little
got a lot
grin.
of ideas. Yeah, we've got a lot of ideas. But
And
yeah, appreciate.
any
Go on, mate.
no outro still? How many weeks have we been doing this? I mean, forget the
Nah.
YouTube side, Instagram side, no outro. No?
Nah, still no outro. We'll get there. I'll get the branding going soon. All right,
I
see
love
you
it.
guys.
Love you all.
See you later,
Peace.
mate.